Hi, I'm Liam. To be honest, I don't just love money, I love the freedom it buys. I'm here to help you stop trading your life for a paycheck and start building a foundation that actually lasts. Think about your last big purchase. Not a house or a car, just something normal. Maybe a nice dinner out, a new pair of shoes, or even just filling up the tank without looking at the pump. You swiped the card, you felt that tiny hit of dopamine, but then, about 3 seconds later, that familiar cold knot tied itself in your stomach. You're making more money than your parents ever did at your age, yet you're checking your banking app in the grocery store line just to make sure the available balance hasn't pulled a disappearing act. Here's the thing, and I'm going to be blunt because someone has to be. If you feel like you're running a marathon on a treadmill that's slowly speeding up, it's because the middle class you're trying to join doesn't actually exist anymore. It's a ghost. A leftover relic from a 1990s sitcom that we've been tricked into chasing. Look, in 2026, the math has fundamentally changed, but our brains are still operating on 1985 software. We've been told that a six-figure salary is the finish line, the you made it moment. But today, $100,000 has the purchasing power that $60,000 had just a decade ago. We are living through a period of hidden poverty, where you can have a LinkedIn title that sounds prestigious and a car in the driveway, but you're actually one transmission failure or one medical deductible away from total financial collapse. It's a lifestyle built on a foundation of sand, and the tide is coming in fast. Let's look at the numbers, and I promise this isn't just doom scrolling. According to recent data on real-world cost of living adjustments, the lifestyle inflation gap has reached a breaking point. While the official consumer price index might tell you things are stabilizing, the things that actually matter, housing, healthcare, and education, have decoupled from reality. We're seeing a K-shaped reality where the top 10% are seeing their assets explode in value, while the remaining 90% are effectively subsidizing their own decline through high-interest debt. It's like we're all passengers on a ship where the luxury suites are getting bigger by cannibalizing the engine room. You see it every day. You see people renting their lives through Afterpay and Klarna for things as small as a pair of jeans. That's not a convenience. That's a red flag that the middle class is being hollowed out. We've replaced actual wealth with the aesthetic of wealth. We've been conditioned to believe that if we can afford the monthly payment, we can afford the item. But a monthly payment is just a chain you're choosing to wear. Let's talk about the golden handcuffs. This is where it gets uncomfortable. Most of you watching this are probably high earners, not rich yet. The Henrys. You earn $150,000, maybe $200,000. But after the mortgage on the house in the good school district, the two leased SUVs, the childcare that costs more than an Ivy League tuition, and the taxes, you're left with, what? A few $100 to toss into a 401k that's barely keeping pace with the true rate of currency debasement? That's not freedom. That's a high-end hamster wheel. The tragedy is that we've been taught to view our homes as our primary investment, but in 2026, for most people, a home is a massive liability disguised as an asset. It sucks cash every month for maintenance, taxes, and interest, and unless you're willing to sell it and move into a tent, you can't eat that equity. We are house poor on a national scale. So why is this happening? It's because the standard path is a trap designed to keep you productive, but never powerful. The system needs you to stay just comfortable enough to keep working, but just broke enough to never be able to quit. Think of your finances like a bucket. Most of us are obsessed with pouring more water in, getting a raise, a side hustle, a promotion. But the bucket is full of holes. Those holes are the hidden taxes of modern life: subscription fatigue, convenience premiums, and the biggest one of all, social signaling. We spend money we don't have to impress people we don't like with things we don't need. It sounds like a cliche until you look at your credit card statement and realize you spent $4,000 last year on DoorDash because you were too tired to cook after working a job you hate to pay for the kitchen you aren't using. Here is the surprising reveal, the thing no one wants to admit. The only way to survive 2026 is to opt out of the middle-class script entirely. You have to become an outlier. Being normal in this economy is a death sentence. Normal is being $40,000 in non-mortgage debt. Normal is having less than $1,000 in savings. Normal is a heart attack at 55 because you've been stressed for 3 decades straight. If you want what nobody has, you have to do what nobody does. And that starts with a brutal, radical audit of your life. I'm not talking about cutting out lattes. I'm talking about aggressive minimalism and asset reallocation. You need to stop buying things that lose value the moment you touch them. You need to stop caring about the prestige of your zip code and start caring about your burn rate. How many months you could survive if your income went to zero tomorrow. Look, the advice you need isn't save 10% and wait 40 years. That world is gone. You need to focus on asymmetric upside. You need to take the money you're currently wasting on the middle-class illusion and plow it into assets that produce cash flow or skill sets that the market pays a premium for. You need to become your own economy. This means building a freedom fund that isn't touched for any reason, but it also means investing in your human capital. In an AI-driven 2026, your ability to solve complex problems and communicate effectively is worth more than any degree. Stop trying to look rich and start trying to be wealthy. Wealth is the silence of a phone that doesn't ring with bill collectors. Wealth is the ability to say no to a toxic boss because you don't need the next paycheck to keep the lights on. I want you to do something today. It's going to suck. I want you to calculate your true hourly wage. Take your annual take-home pay, subtract the cost of your commute, your work clothes, the extra meals you buy because you're working, and the therapy or stress relief you pay for. Then divide that by the actual hours you spend thinking about or doing work. For most middle-class professionals, that number is shockingly low, sometimes less than minimum wage. Once you see that number, you can't unsee it. Use that frustration. Use that slight bit of anger. Let it be the fuel that makes you cancel the useless subscriptions, sell the car you can't afford, and start building a life that actually belongs to you. The illusion is crumbling, but that's actually good news. It means you can finally stop chasing a ghost and start building something real. You have the tools, you have the information, and now you have the wake-up call. Don't hit the snooze button. Go out there and reclaim your time, because that's the only currency that truly matters.